On today's episode, we have a whole bunch of reboots to go over and discuss, plus some date changes and some indefinite holdouts for upcoming movies. Let's get started.
This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Hey everyone, welcome to Off the Break Podcast. I'm Codi and I'm back.
You're back!
Who is this?
I'm back.
I don't recognize
Back
this
to command
person.
the ship. It had gone astray.
It wasn't quite sinking, but there was a few holes
They
that
might have hit a rock or two.
I hit a rock or two, but I thought overall we did fine while you were out.
Yes. Oh, and with me are Kyle and Erik,
Hi.
who have not abandoned you in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, they should be able to recognize us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like there was no introduction needed.
we've
No.
been here doing the podcast.
Yes.
Missing you, of course.
I've not really been anywhere. I've actually been here in the office, just extremely busy. We're getting into the holiday season, and there are just so many movies to go over.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm just swamped, but I found some time today.
Woohoo!
Go
Hey.
over all of these reboots.
I think I blew up my mic. It's okay.
Yeah.
And everyone else's eardrums.
just really
so-
excited.
Yeah, I'm just so excited. I'm
We're
so pumped.
pumped.
Lots to go over.
Yeah. So not much news. You guys kind of went over last week what you had seen
hmm
over the weekend. It was kind of bad weather here, so we didn't really get to see anything else.
Didn't want to step outside.
No.
Plus Halloween parties.
Yes.
I've had a few of those, and that happens this
Mhm.
weekend every year. You know, the weekend.
Not really
around
me, but
yeah.
everybody around me. Just a bunch of drunk, dumb people stumbling,
Yeah.
almost getting themselves run over.
Yeah.
That happens. It's a historically low weekend.
Yeah.
Around
Yeah.
Halloween.
And
Oh,
it showed.
absolutely.
And it showed this weekend for sure.
Yeah.
It
Well-
wasn't too surprising.
The one that I think got hurt the most was Hunter Killer.
Nobody was ever going to go see Hunter
I mean,
Killer.
yeah, like
that could have
the one-
released in, like, I don't even, what's the most lucrative weekend statistically for
What-
movies
what
out
do
of
you
the
mean?
entire year? Like
What
how
are
this
they?
is like a bad weekend. Memorial Day is usually a bad weekend. What are like the dependably good
Christmas.
weekends? Christmas?
Christmas
Hunter
is
Killer
always a
could have
good
come
one.
out on Christmas
Yeah.
and it would have the exact same turnout.
And
Probably.
Thanksgiving are really good. That's why we call it the holiday corridor, because it's like
I guess, yeah, Thanksgiving makes sense.
Thanksgiving's huge. Everybody has the day off.
People with their families, they go out.
Yep.
With Hunter
Big
Killer,
groups.
I was hearing that like the traction for this particular Gerard Butler film was even less than like most of his other ones were. So I think like no matter what weekend, it
It
just
just
was
makes
not
me laugh.
like the single digit million mark was what everyone was predicting.
It
would
is sad
happen.
that Gary Oldman was in it though.
I mean, a paycheck's a paycheck.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure
he got his
he-
Oscar last year.
Yeah, he's like, I can coast for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. He's not hurt right now by this.
Maybe the idea of American naval officers saving the Russian
Ugh,
president
those
just
Russians.
didn't sit well with its target audience.
Ugh.
We don't save those Russies.
I'm sure that was it.
These
Yeah.
damn Reds.
Let's go dress up as Mario at a Halloween party instead.
Yeah, so
That's actually probably exactly what happened.
oh, probably. Like it's not surprising at all with how this weekend turned out.
Yeah, by the way, tomorrow is Halloween.
Woohoo.
We're dressing
Yep.
up in the office.
Are we?
Yes, we all are.
Good, because I dressed up as a boat for the last Halloween party I went to, and I almost threw out the costume. So now
A
I get
boat?
to come in as a boat. Yep. My girlfriend was
Like
the
a
captain,
like
and
a-
I was the boat.
Like
Ooh,
a s-
Erik, are you
like
gonna
a
be the
special
captain?
boat or
Ju-
just
a
a
dinghy,
boat.
just a small rowboat, and
Not even like Mickey's. What the early Mickey cartoons? His tugboat.
oh, Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie.
No,
Not
just
even
a,
like a specific.
nope,
just a boat.
Just a small dinghy boat that I
Hey.
had oars and everything. It's actually pretty impressive.
That'll be really good. You should be the captain, Erik.
Okay.
Kyle's girlfriend can't come and work a whole day tomorrow.
Right.
And then I was gonna be a pirate. So I think we gotta make this happen now.
I mean, if this is legit, because I'm
Yeah.
just hearing about this, like I'll come in.
What do captains look like?
They have a captain hat.
People with a hat on?
I don't have a captain hat.
And they wear.
You don't have a
you
captain
could be
hat?
a salty sea captain and wear a turtleneck, like a wool one with your
Yeah.
welly jacket and your pipe. You might have to make a fake beard.
Yeah.
Erik does not have facial hair.
He's got a little. He's growing some. Like, give him some credit.
Oh yeah, no.
He's got a beard.
The only reason
Yeah.
this is here is because I'm lazy and I have don't have the
Been there.
stuff
I
from the
get it.
store. I have to go buy the things.
I totally get it. No shame.
Well, although it is going to be November. I've never done No Shave November.
Hey.
I'm not going to this year
Oh,
either. But
well, okay.
What? Why not?
I don't know, because my grandma's going to visit and I want to look nice for her.
Well,
She-
gotta look
she
nice
gonna
for the
make her
grandma. I
cookies?
get it.
Are you gonna have
Well, she's
cookies?
going to Missoula.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
So you'll be traveling down there and seeing
and
her?
bringing back
Okay.
cookies,
Probably.
hopefully? Like
Oh, yeah.
Norwegian cookies?
Oh yeah, she makes those.
Like rosettes, aren't they?
I don't know the name. I just know my grandma's sweets.
You guys have had a deep conversation about these though, like
We
more
have.
than
Yeah.
one occasion.
I wanted his grandma to come down and teach me how to make them. Show me your ways.
I'll
I
see
wanna
what I-
know the old ways.
I'll see what I can do.
I don't want to YouTube it. I want somebody to teach me.
Just to be there.
Yeah, that's how cooking should be learned in person. With an older, knowledgeable person giving the younger, terrible person.
Yeah, you
All
got to
the
pass on the
secrets.
wisdom.
Yeah.
And you would think she would pass it on to, her grandson, but no, she'll pass it on to his boss instead.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Makes
grandson's
complete
boss.
sense.
Keeping
I
the
don't-
cycle alive.
I don't have grandmas, so I'm gonna steal everybody else's to teach me
Well,
stuff.
I feel bad now. I'm sorry.
Take your grandma, combine your grandmas, make my own new grandma.
Who will love me?
I don't care if they love me as long as they teach me things. I can be mean about it. Be like, yes. somebody else
Swat
is
your
grandma.
hand away. It's like, no, that's not the right amount. You have to feel.
I feel like this would be a great movie.
Yeah.
We're just brainstorming away today.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Oh yeah, for the cookies for making.
And grandmas.
Yeah, grandmas and cookies weren't mentioned in your little intro section, Kyle.
No, we'd have to go back and rework that.
It can be done.
It's a little nice surprise for everyone, though. There you go.
Well, today we were going to talk about all those reboots that are happening.
They're always rebooting things, but now it seems like
quite a bit.
more than usual, and pretty
big
big
spike.
pretty big names.
A big
I
spike
feel
on
like
the charts.
Some of these reboots are head scratchers. Like,
Most of them are.
but this is more like, why?
Does that even
Question
really
mark?
make business sense?
Yeah. So
I guess that. Yeah, that's fair.
let's
Yeah.
get into them. The
Yeah.
first one on my list is the one that really got me. They're rebooting Clueless.
Yeah.
Now, my first reaction was, again, why? It's not that old. But as
It is.
Eric so kindly pointed out, the
It's an old
90s
movie.
Are,
Yeah,
what did
like,
you say,
not-
20
yeah,
years ago?
over 20 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would
no.
be.
They're really not that far away.
I'm sorry, but it's true.
We got into this discussion. It's like, what is 30 years ago? You're like the 70s.
That's still that's how I see it in my head. I just before I say that out loud, I have to
Right.
catch myself. Be like, no, Eric, no, you know that's not what it
Do
is.
the math.
It
Do
just
the math.
feels right.
Oh, that's always how it'll feel.
Timeline perspective, it feels right. So, in the feeling of it, Clueless is like, oh, that was the 90s. We're not that far away from that. But no,
It's
we
time.
are.
Yeah, it's time.
And out of all the movies in the 90s, really? We had to redo that one?
Yeah, that's the thing I don't get. Like,
I mean, it's kind of a cult classic movie. I don't know. I don't really know anything about it, how it did, if it was like a big deal when it came out, if it was like, the talk of the town.
I'm pretty sure it was
I
kind of a
don't-
big deal at its time.
I just thought it was
I
like
don't
a
know.
little high school movie that kind of,
Launched
stayed
a
relevant
career
over the
of
years.
Paul
Had
Rudd.
some pretty.
I still
I
argue
don't know if
that
this
Friends-
is the movie that launched his
I
career.
still argue
but-
that Friends launched his career, but Friends just has a special place in my heart too. So
This
that's
is also the 90s.
I know, but I'm just saying like I would
Debuted.
argue
debuted the year of my birth.
Friends did.
Yeah, I watched the pilot of Friends because I'd never seen Friends before, but I was like,
Right.
ooh, 1994.
Yeah.
So I watched the pilot and I was like,
Never
I want to
seen
see what
Friends.
things were like when
Oh
I
my
came into
gosh.
this world.
Yeah, and they
I
were
was like,
just
oh
in
my,
coffee shops.
oh my gosh, yeah, but everything looks different.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
for sure. But yeah, I don't.
Gosh.
Anyway, to get
I've
back
never
on
seen
this,
Friends.
to get back on this,
It's a lot of people that
I
are
haven't
like,
seen all of
"What?"
I haven't seen all of it now, but I've seen Friends since.
yeah,
But when I first watched it, I was like, okay, let's start from the beginning. Also happens to be the year I was born. Let's see what the world looked like then.
Did you purposely have to look up Friends to see it after that point? You didn't, because obviously you weren't just scrolling through the TV and, oh, Friends is on.
No, I watched it on Netflix. I didn't watch it on TV. I remember the theme song because my parents would watch, or my mom would watch it, my aunt would watch it, but
Yeah.
no.
That wasn't the theme song.
Close to it in my head.
Yeah, close. It's close enough. I just wonder if Paul Rudd's gonna make a cameo in Clueless.
Well,
Probably.
I hope so. Otherwise, what was the point? He still looks the exact same.
Yeah, really, he could just be playing like the same role,
Mhm.
and nothing would change.
It could be like he could be the successful dad with a daughter
Mm-hmm.
that is rich and spoiled, and we can just like.
It'd mirror. It'd be poetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
But he'd look the exact same. So it'd be like, why is this high schooler like raising this kid? This is weird.
He was in college in the movie, Eric,
I've never seen it. I don't know.
unless if
and then
they
he dated a high schooler.
Ooh, taboo.
Yeah.
unless if they go down that route of what you guys were just joking about, I don't know how else you can really make a spin on Clueless other than just being like it's a fresher take in the modern era that we're currently in.
It'll probably just be the exact same movie, but
just
it'll
with,
look like it was made
with-
today.
with like iPhones.
characters
With
that
current
are so
current
woke.
slang.
Yeah, like that's that. I mean, maybe the writers of Girls Trip did a great job, but I don't know what they could do with Clueless. So
No. I mean, I don't really think you should expect to. We don't know anything about it at this point. Of all of these
True.
reboots, this one's probably the least like developed. It's just like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna remake Clueless.
right.
So
And we're like, no, why?
I mean,
Some
I
of
don't
us
I don't really care, but
I do. I do.
Special
Made me
place
feel
in some
old.
people's
Thanks
hearts.
a lot, guys.
I was just speaking the facts. Reality check.
Another one on the list is Charlie's Angels getting reboot.
Yep.
They've moved the release date of that around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about the Charlie's Angels reboot a little bit when it was first announced, but
Right.
yeah, now its release date falls. I think when is it the release date now?
No,
Well, I can-
November 1st,
Yeah,
2019.
yep, the same day as another soft reboot, Terminator 6,
Yeah.
tentatively titled Terminator 6. You just can't escape these things.
I'm weirdly a little more interested in the Charlie's Angels reboot than the Terminator reboot. Is that weird to
Well, I
say?
feel like Terminator hasn't gone away. There have been
Yeah.
Terminator movies, but I feel like most people forget about them. I mean, people have already forgotten about Genesis, probably because it was so
yeah,
terrible.
True.
Man, I
Um,
wanted that to be good. 'Cause wasn't it Amelia Clark?
Yeah,
So
that
I
was the
like her.
movie. I was like, okay,
Jason.
I love her in Game of Thrones, but I don't think she's
Jason
going to be able
something.
to make that transition to big budget blockbusters quite yet. Or if so, this is not the one to do it.
And then she did Solo, and then that didn't do well. I'm like,
Yeah, but that's
no,
a good
come on.
movie. But Terminator Genesis is
She's
not a good
awesome
movie.
in it. I think she was my favorite part.
Um,
Just like her.
But yeah, no, Charlie's Angels, Terminator 6 coming out on the same day. I wonder which one's gonna,
I would guess
I would-
that
One
Terminator.
for the men who enjoyed 90s stuff, and one for the ladies.
True. I mean,
Although-
maybe. I feel like a lot of guys would go see Charlie's Angels
Charlie's
too, though.
Angels was older. It was a TV show, but then
Yeah.
didn't it have a 90s or was that early 2000s?
Early 2000s, I think.
those
Cameron
movies-
Diaz,
Yeah.
Lucy Liu, and Drew
Barrymore.
Barrymore.
I almost said Angelina Jolie. I don't know why. That would have been wrong.
That would have been really wrong.
Really, really wrong. Although I think she would have fit in.
That was her in her
Yeah.
like more crazier period. I feel like
Yeah.
When did
Early
she
two-
make out with her brother?
after she
You know, I don't have that on
wasn't
memory.
for her Oscar win.
Yeah, something like that.
For-
Poor John Voight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Anyways.
just going down a rabbit hole of memories right now. This
Well,
is
this is what happens. When
This
you
is what
reboot weird movies.
this is the core essence of what reboots are. People going down rabbit holes of memories.
Yeah, this
that we're
is
just
why
like, ooh.
this is why they want them, because there's like some built-in awareness to the brand already.
Yeah. And that's what people like is
I think it's because it's the internet, and now everybody can be in constant communication with each other, and people are realizing that everybody kind of experiences the same basic feelings.
Yeah.
And so now everybody's getting to that point where they're collectively getting really nostalgic.
Mhm.
So this is just the market's natural result.
Yeah,
of
it's all
that.
about for today's market. It's also about brand recognition as well, and
Yeah.
big.
But
well,
it's
not
all
big
it all can
properties,
prey
but-
on people's nostalgia.
Yeah,
I forgot that Bill Murray was the first Bosley.
Oh, the
Yeah.
voice.
I did too.
Yeah. No, Bosley, their caretaker guy.
Oh,
Not
You never hear Charlie is the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And his angels.
Yeah.
He's the box.
that's
And
kind
then
of
it
neat.
was it Bernie Mac?
Bernie Mac.
I don't remember. That movie was so a while ago, and
Yeah,
I
I
just
never-
never had much interest
yeah.
in it to begin with. I don't remember who was all in it. That's why I almost said Angelina Jolie was in it, because I probably got her confused in some other thing that was close by at that point. But I don't
Bernie
know.
Mac.
I don't
knew
know.
it. Ha!
It is Bernie Mac.
It is
Okay.
Bernie Mac. He was in the second one.
There was a second one?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there was two.
Was it
Well,
Full
Charlie-
Throttle?
Holy-
Full Throttle.
Of course, it was called
Say
Full
what
Throttle.
I know the
Throttle.
subtitle, but I don't know anything else. Okay.
Like, I'm not even shocked. That was early 2000s, right? Early 2000s movie being
Yeah.
called like Full Throttle.
Yeah.
It probably had
High
that edgy,
octane.
yeah, had that edgy
Max speed.
typeface to it or whatever. Yeah, I can just picture what the poster probably was. It makes me laugh. And that's what reboots do.
it's
It
got
reminds you of
fire
early
on it.
2000s.
Oh, that movie is on fire.
Yeah. I think they were both pretty successful. So I guess the studio.
Actually, it's got lady butts.
That's not
with the
surprising
two
either. I don't
On the
think.
butt.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Elizabeth Banks will go down that route because she's directing this new one. I think
Yeah.
she'll be like, women will be respected in this, and that is okay. And
I don't know about respected, but she'll make it funny. So that'll
true,
be good.
she will make it funny.
She made
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect funny.
I've still never seen the Pitch Perfect movies.
Oh, you should. The first one's great.
Well, no, just give it a year or two, and there'll be a reboot.
Oh yeah, there we go.
True,
Then
I
I can
almost
see
forgot
the
about
then I can
that.
see the newer, better version. Because you know
Do
the
you remember?
the 2010s
Movies from
are
20 years ago. will feel like
2010s are
yesterday.
already a decade ago.
Why do you do this?
Because I find it just as perplexing, but it's kind of cathartic to say it out loud, I guess.
I don't feel better.
No, but you gotta acknowledge it. You gotta come to terms with it sooner or later.
Do I? Can't I just live?
Or
I
you can
see
just
why-
live in denial for the rest of your
I
life.
see why
And then...
people get grumpy as they get
Yes,
older.
that's absolutely
Things
what it
change.
is.
I don't like it. It's happening so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the reason.
I'm sure we'll be there someday as well.
Probably.
It happens sooner than you think.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you how old I am, but you would be surprised.
I like that.
No, I mean,
I like that
I
she
noticed.
specifically
I
pointed
noticed
at
it.
Eric.
I noticed
I'm
it.
off the hook.
I noticed it with some of my old coworker friends who are like, 5 years older. Not that
Oh, I
much
thought you were gonna
older,
say,
but
like 5 years old. I
you
was
know,
like,
You
what?
know, still in their mid-20s, only 5 years older.
Right,
hating
right.
on the new video games, the new crazes these days. Back in my day, our
And you're-
games were better.
And you're just like, easy
I'm sitting there
champ.
like, this is so fascinating to me. I'm watching in real time as you're starting to, this is where
Have a breakdown?
this is where the current generation starts hating on the next generation stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is so interesting.
Mhm.
The human condition.
To be fair, I am really getting into video games that are like 10 years old now. So
Well, it's
I don't
because
know if
when
I
you
can
that's because
handle
when you
new
grow
video
when you
games.
start getting older, you don't have as much free time. So then, you start trying to make up for all the stuff that you missed. But
yeah.
by the time you actually go back, there's already been,
Oh, I know. I'm like, ooh, Witcher 3 is so good right
that
now.
Witcher 3 is so 3 years ago.
So old. I did play Assassin's Creed Origins.
That
when it
is
came out.
so a year and a half ago.
I know. and
There's already a new,
another
yeah.
one. I'm like, no one's still
You're falling
savoring-
behind.
They
in the
even took their
story of
time
the
on
old
that
one.
one, on the latest one too. They
Yeah.
actually didn't rush it out, so that's just
Oh.
as funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, I got a game when it first came out, and I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no, there's already another one, and I have it. It's sitting there, and I'm like, I'm not done with Witcher 3 yet.
Oh, Witcher 3 is like 300 hours long, so
It's so long, but
you'll
so
never be
good.
done. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And Skyrim. I'm still in
Skyrim is 7 years old.
I know. It is really old, and
Move
I'm
on.
on console. I'm not on PC, so I can't mod it out to make.
Yeah,
it
no, I've never been a PC
Mhm.
person.
So now I'm playing a really old
Oh yeah,
feeling game.
bare bones vanilla Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
Probably not even the remastered versions.
It's the one for Xbox One, so it's slightly remastered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can actually kind of tell what's going on.
I don't even have that one, so I'm just rocking OG vanilla Skyrim.
What's the next?
Yeah, what's another thing that's being
anyway,
rebooted?
back to the reboots. What's
Oh.
the?
We could talk about the reboot that Disney just announced of Pirates of
Oh.
the Caribbean.
That one made me scratch my head. That was one where I was like, whoa, like I mean, I guess it's been almost 20 years, 15 years, but
Since the first one?
yeah, 2002, I think.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
around that time.
2002.
That was like
Curse of the Black
5
Pearl.
years ago, right?
In Cody terms.
plus 11 years. But I mean, the biggest thing about that though is obviously there's not going to be a Johnny Depp, and I can't imagine they would just get a new person to be Jack Sparrow
That's you.
I don't think
can't.
you can.
because nobody
Yeah.
would buy that.
2000.
But then if you take Jack Sparrow out of the equation, I don't really know. Do people really like pirates as much in those movies, like the whole vibe, or do they like Jack Sparrow?
I think it's
Because
Has there been any
I haven't really
Pirates
been-
movies
I haven't really
that you can
exactly
compare?
like there wasn't Pirates of the Caribbean didn't bring like a resurgence in pirate movies or those old kind of swashbuckler movies. It was just the Pirates of the Caribbean movies,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was kind of it. There wasn't a mini resurgence or renaissance of pirate movies.
And
It was
they've
always just
used-
those.
And in that franchise, they've used all the big name characters.
Yeah,
like
well, because I've
Blackbeard and-
fallen out of it. I
and
I didn't keep up with the last one, but
Don't
Fucking-
even try.
I know that they got rid
Oh.
of some
And
of the bigger
Fountain of
other
Youth.
main characters, like Orlando Bloom's character was gone for like a movie or two, but then
Yep.
he came back at the
Oh.
in like a cameo
You're
kind of
reminding me
thing.
of the fifth one. Sorry.
And people really, nobody, you don't really see people championing like, oh my god, that's one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah,
It's
like
always
even,
like, yeah, the first one was good and the second one's, whatever.
like
I
even
feel
the
like
most.
they ruined their own franchise with really poor storytelling.
Yeah.
Every time.
Oh, for sure. Like
Even
even
the-
diehard Pirates fans will admit.
Even the
like,
third
first
one,
two are
there's
fine.
some people that still defend the third one, but I forget what year it came out. I wasn't very
Oh, I
old
just
or
had it up.
super like into film yet, but even watching that, I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. This is kind of a weird, boring movie.
Third one was 2007.
Yeah.
It looks like.
I think it was the most expensive movie ever made at the time.
Probably.
But yeah, I mean, take
recall.
away Jack Sparrow, I just don't know what you're left with.
I mean, I think they could do interesting pirate stories, but are they going to do comedic ones? Because Jack.
Well, if it's
Sparrow
Disney, of
brought
course, it's gonna have to be kind of
Yeah.
comedic,
kind of comedic. So
In
are
that-
you gonna
friendly, take nothing seriously kind of way.
right? And
But
then, are you
then-
gonna have a really big bad guy, but you've already used the kind of well-known.
Yeah. I mean, the
names.
only option is to build it again from the ground up with a different kind of feel, different tone.
But is that what they're gonna do though? Like it just goes back to
I
the
don't know,
question
like,
after
what
every
can you do?
reboot, It's what's the catch? Like what's the
Yeah, what's
And
the
if it's
new
just gonna be a
spin? What's the
retelling,
new
then-
spin they're gonna give it? Because they're rebooting it. That doesn't mean they're gonna just remake Curse of the Black Pearl with that
Yeah.
storyline and characters.
and if you do,
They're
why
all
not just make
they've
another
already
sequel
been
to
treading
Pirates?
water for like 10 years trying to figure out new stories to tell with this series, and when you reboot it and get rid of all of the other things you had to work with, then you're even more treading even more water, I feel like. But again, who knows?
Yeah,
They all made money, so I mean
They
it
did leave it off on the last one to have a story that was.
what happens to Jack Sparrow in the last one?
He just goes
I don't
off and-
remember.
Does he like sail off into the sunset or something?
Yeah, you don't kill Jack Sparrow. They left that, but then didn't they leave it where there was a scene at the very end, like an after credit scene with with
Is that the Will Turner thing?
Yeah,
I heard
it's
about.
So
with her, and then there's like
doesn't matter.
water or something.
I don't know. I never saw
like
it.
a ghost, and then because his curse is lifted, but maybe it's not really.
Wait, he had a curse?
Yeah,
It's-
that happened in the third one. He
Like,
was
you're
killed.
making
and
my
they-
brain hurt.
Okay, so he was killed. and
What
they-
what I remember from the third one is that woman turns huge and explodes into crabs.
Okay, during that time, they're like fighting on the ship, and they're trying to kill Davy Jones, but they got to stab him in the heart. But they can't not have a Davy Jones character because they need to ferry the.
Okay, I
souls
kind of
of
remember
them.
that actually. I
So
thought he was
they-
in the second one though.
So they turn Will Turner, who gets stabbed, into the next Davy Jones because he's dying, and the only way to save him is to make him the next Davy Jones. But he
Oh.
only gets to return every 10 years for one day.
Oh,
And so he does, and he fathers a son with Elizabeth.
ew.
and then
Davy
his son, and
Jones?
then the very last movie,
I
his
don't-
son is trying to
I
lift
hope
his
it wasn't
curve.
actually Davy Jones.
And
I mean,
they
does he eventually start to look like Davy Jones? Does he get like
Yeah.
tentacles and stuff on his face?
He starts getting like pale, gross, and some barnacles on him
Ew.
in the third one.
Ugh.
But then his curse is lifted and he looks normal again. Just old.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Well, that's believe me, I saw the fifth one. That's what it looked. I guess that's what the movie was. I honestly can't tell you what happened. Like, I'll believe what you said.
I've
but
seen
I
the fourth one
honestly-
too, but I don't.
They just all have mushed together.
I know that there are scary mermaids in it. I think.
I don't. I honestly can't tell you.
Maybe I'm mixing them up with the Goblet of Fire mermaids.
Like,
I
what are
think
they?
you are.
What would a Pirates reboot change? Like,
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. This is why it
If
made
all
me
these
scratch my
movies
head.
are mushing together into one, how can you possibly reboot this and make it completely different without?
If like
making
set
it
aside the
mush
fact that
again?
it'll probably make money. They all have.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, what possible route they could take. Because every reboot you can kind of see.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Clueless, just tell the same basic story again, but put a twist on it. You can't tell the same basic story again with Pirates without without Jack Sparrow.
Really though, like this franchise works best with Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. So I no idea.
That they couldn't. That they're not so much trying to get away from Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow's that he became too expensive to insure, so they couldn't
Oh,
really.
probably.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Yeah, he's having a rough time.
Well, he's punching people on sets, so that probably doesn't help.
Punching people on sets, getting his movies
Yeah,
taken
he
off the
needs to be
release
insured.
schedule. That whole other thing. That's not the only guy he apparently punched. The only person. That's really horrible, but
I think for a reboot, they should wait a little bit longer to go back to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny to say that because we were just talking about Clueless and whether or not that is too soon for some people or not. But I think in
Too soon
terms,
for some people.
I think in terms of like an overall franchise and how big it's gone and how long it's gone on for, like you still need to wait a bit
When
longer.
was the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
2002,
Yeah,
the same year.
That's- I mean, yeah,
rebooted.
That got
do-
rebooted
you do make
less
a good
than 10
point.
years.
That is a good point.
Yeah,
I
less
did
than
not
10
think of
years it
that.
was rebooted, then it failed. And then they rebooted it again.
And now it's fine. It's fine.
It's
For
fine.
now,
I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you do
It's
make a good
okay.
point though.
You
Like,
never
it can
finished it
work,
though, Cody.
but-
You never finished it.
Finish it. I doesn't mean I will never.
Well, I mean, it's been like almost a year now, I feel like.
No, it's been that. We haven't been doing the.
It's been like
podcast
8
that
months.
long.
No, but
It came
I
out
swear,
July
you
last
started.
year.
You said you started Homecoming, like 8 months ago. Because we weren't
For
doing the
the-
podcast when you first started
true.
trying to
You
watch
guys-
the movie, and then
Yeah,
like
that's right.
5 months later, you're like, "Yeah, I sat down and tried to watch a little bit more of it." I'm just like,
Yeah, that was
just
the
admit you don't like it, and just
But
you
when I
know.
do like it, like A Star Is Born, I will watch
What?
all versions.
What
of
does
it.
that even mean?
Don't
I
know.
can't force myself to like this.
Point
You
is,
don't have to.
Fine.
Spider-Man's a weird sort of anomaly because there are a lot of things that went into that. Because I mean, I feel like most people like the Tobey Maguire movies. The third one, obviously, everyone likes to hate on, but
Yeah.
even that has some redeeming qualities. I feel
It does.
like,
Even
Yeah.
rebooting Venom already.
yeah. Well, you're not really rebooting him when he was just a really lame, half-assed side character for
Yeah.
the last 20 minutes of the worst
Yes.
Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
Or worst Tobey Maguire one, but yeah, then they rebooted it less than 10 years later. It was almost dead on arrival.
But it got a sequel.
The sequel is what killed it, though.
Yeah.
The sequel was like, no, this just can't work.
I haven't seen
But
those
that's a
either.
weird sort of anomaly because that's where everybody was just like, no, just give it to the MCU. They'll make it work. So then they were like, okay, fine. And then,
And
like,
now
what,
they're
4 years after its second reboot, they rebooted it again and made, like, what, $800, $900 million?
Yeah.
So
only.
it's hard to use that as a measure for
I'm just
other
trying to think of
reboots.
what else came out in 2002? Didn't we just say Charlie's Angels? The second one came out in 2003.
Yeah.
And they're rebooting that.
Yeah, I wonder if
All
the,
these are tied together.
They're a lot closer than we
That's a
I
bigger
wonder
anticipated.
if
conspiracy
some
going on here.
early Deals, like production deals, where it's like I have the rights for X amount of years. And
Yeah.
then the X amount of years is all of a sudden coming off.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's what happened with Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's why I feel like a lot of times you'll get just such obviously half-assed terrible movies because they're like, well, if we don't pump something out in the next 6 months, we lose the rights. So just slap whatever together you can.
I mean, that's what happened with the recent Fantastic Four movie. Like Fox's deal with those characters. Like, no, like I'm serious. Like it expired, and so they got Josh Trank to make them a new Fantastic Four movie. I mean, that could have worked, but obviously it didn't for many reasons. But like the deal was expiring.
Oh, I saw it in theaters purely out of curiosity.
Yep.
Was it good?
Oh no.
Well, I will say this: the first half is very interesting.
I think it's really boring.
Boring, sure,
Really
but
boring
it is
and
interesting.
gray.
Like there's something there and something different. And then the second half just takes a nosedive.
I
and
feel
it's
that
just
I feel horrible because that movie made me laugh at a kid being abused by his brother because his brother is like, it's clobbering time.
Yeah,
it's like, no, you didn't seriously just make the thing's most popular catchphrase a thing that your abusive brother.
Yeah,
like,
that is
that's
pretty.
sad.
Yeah, he goes, it's clobbering time.
It's sad on multiple.
And it's like,
levels.
yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah,
it was so
probably should have
so
been
absurd.
That should have been the hint to what was about to come.
Yeah, no, that movie was
Did
a
they kill
travesty.
baby in the first 20 minutes?
Metaphorically.
Okay. Or a
I don't.
child?
What are you remembering?
I don't know, like the franchise could have been some people's baby. Like, Fantastic Four are my favorite.
Yep. Okay.
And then the first 10 minutes,
nice metaphor.
They killed it.
I see what you did there.
No, it's a terrible movie.
Not very fun to watch.
Well, we talked a little bit about Terminator and Charlie's Angels getting rebooted. Another one that's kind of interesting that I'm kind of like, I could see this. I don't know how it's gonna work, but LeBron James's production company, Spring Hill Entertainment, is gonna reboot Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, there was another one that I forgot we hadn't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
This is definitely like the coolest one because I do feel like
I mean,
in some ways they could find a neat spin to this.
Yeah, like
for all I know, maybe LeBron James is kind of like, kind of like how Danny McBride was growing up with Halloween. Maybe LeBron James loves the Friday the 13th movie or the character of Jason or something.
He is apparently a horror fan.
Yeah,
like
so I mean
that was told a while ago. So.
I think it's one of those things where it's just so interesting because nobody's gonna be like, no, you can't remake Friday the 13th. That's a classic.
Yeah.
You can't touch that.
Like,
I mean, just with the so many sequels. To
it's the exact same situation as Halloween. People are like, please, yes, make us a good one.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think his company has really proven itself yet. Because obviously, like they just got word that they're going to be able to start the Space Jam sequel and
also starring LeBron James. Which who else could you get?
Yeah, most likely
it's a
it will
once in
be
a generation movie because you have to have that once in a generation superstar.
Yeah,
true.
Which is LeBron James
and Bugs Bunny.
But I don't think that entertainment company has proven themselves yet. But at least they're taking properties and rebooting them to where, or making sequels to where it at least should entice people.
Yeah. No, I can't really see anybody like angry at the fact that they're making a new Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, I think it's like what you said with like Halloween.
People are gonna be like, okay, yeah, about time we have a good movie. I hope more power to you, please. We're rooting for you.
Or it won't really matter if it's bad.
Yeah, if it's bad, people are just gonna be like, yeah, that's how. If it's terrible, they're gonna be like, yeah, well, what'd you expect? It's Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
So
pretty much a win-win.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that one is by far the most interesting one.
And then another one that I just had kind of skimmed through and saw, didn't realize it was a Netflix reboot, so I'm not super stoked about that one, but it was Pinocchio by Guillermo. I can never
Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah. I cannot pronounce his name correctly.
I don't know. I just try and say it fast so
G's
that
and
sounded good to me.
I kind of slur through it.
Yeah.
Del Toro.
Well, I'm part Mexican.
You can just say Del Toro.
I'm part Mexican. It comes naturally. He's like my brother.
He's going to redo Pinocchio, which is already a creepy movie.
Oh,
so
God.
I can't imagine what he's going to do to it.
Oh,
yeah, it's like a lifelong
turn the creep factor up to
it's apparently like a lifelong passion project for him, and
of course
he's been trying to get this thing made for forever, and now it's like, okay,
now he won
do what you want to do.
Award, so they're like, what project do you really want?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Literally everyone is coming up to him and being like, "What do you want to make?" And we'll help
Please
you.
take my money.
Which is about time too.
Oh yeah.
Too bad it's Netflix, not a real distributor.
No comment.
Yeah, no comment
No
on
one watch
that.
this.
Like it
Only
will
see
be
it in a theater. Oh wait, you can't.
It will be a shame to not see it on the big screen because it could look really cool on a bigger screen. But
I'm sure
Good
it'll
for
have
Del Toro.
some obligatory 1 week
10
theatrical run.
10 location theatrical run to qualify for
New York and
Oscar.
LA for 2 weeks.
In some art house. Like,
That-
they just need screens.
That's kind of what
Be
annoys
good.
me. I'm like, technically that's a theatrical run, but come on. Come on.
it's not for
Right.
every theater.
Well, it's not even close.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
one theater in New York, one theater in LA.
Call
Haha.
it a day. Yeah.
There you go. If you
Mhm.
didn't see it, well,
Maybe a
tough.
theater in Ohio to hit the Midwest.
I think that
Cool.
happens on the
I
occasion.
think there's some more qualifications. Like, they have to hit certain geographical spots. That's why it's screen when they do screen.
Well, in like New York, LA, and
screen in it.
Chicago then.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yay.
Yay for everyone else.
Chicago and like Atlanta.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, well,
And
excuse me.
Miami.
Atlanta's one of them.
Let's get Miami in there.
All of these real cities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that will be kind of a shame to not have like a big theater experience out of it. But either way, it's still going to be a really cool looking movie if it ever
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to fruition.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go to town with those designs.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, it'll probably be terrifying looking.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
I mean, the cartoon Disney one's already one of the most like traumatizing things ever.
weirdly enough, yeah. Not
I
so
mean-
It
much.
was never one of my favorites.
It wasn't one of my
I think
favorites.
it's
It didn't
great.
get traumatized
It's
for me.
great, but him turning into a
How I
donkey and that kid smoking cigars
I only
Yeah.
like Jiminy Cricket.
made me feel so
singing.
dirty. I don't
Yeah.
even like him. His character weirded me out. He sleeps in a matchbox. I don't know why, but that stuck with me. I was like, that's really,
Really?
sad.
Out of all the stuff, that one stuck?
Yeah, that's one of the most vivid images I remember.
I mean, it's not really good for children.
I think
you
it's
know.
because it like opens and then he crawls in and then closes it, so he's just like,
Tomb?
yeah, it's like a coffin.
You're like, I don't want to get stuck in one of
Really
those.
morbid.
No, but good for Del Toro.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. Well, that's kind of all I had for the reboots galore. I'm sure we will have more.
Oh, there's
as the
there's gonna
season
be so
goes
many
on.
more.
Probably.
More
Always is.
announcements. But on another front, we have Oscar campaigning starting up now.
Yep.
Now we're getting close to starting the Oscar season.
Oh,
so
yeah,
the
we're gonna
real
start seeing
campaign
those
strategies are
TV
coming.
spots that flood the screen
For
with
your
Yeah.
critics'
consideration.
quotes and 5
Yeah.
stars. A masterpiece, the
Yes.
greatest movie of the year.
Yeah,
Well-
we've seen some of it happening, like with Paramount. They're working on A Quiet Place right now, and apparently all of the cast members, so all 4 of them, are going to be getting chances for supporting categories at the Oscars
Yep.
instead of some for leading and some for supporting. Which is kind of interesting because you would think like Krasinski and Blum would be the leading
I
characters.
guess, but I mean, maybe aside from the son, well, the son that lives,
yeah.
they have pretty much the same amount of screen time.
Yeah, and that I think
Uh,
that's the argument that Paramount's making for
Well,
it.
that's just what's weird to me is because I always assumed that, because there have been movies in the past where somebody's nominated for supporting, and I'm like, really? They seem kind of like a main character.
Yeah, Christian Bale and
Fighter?
The Fighter. I almost
Yeah.
said Warrior. That wouldn't have been right. And,
Yeah.
like that's a good example of that, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, he's in it a lot, but I guess the movie's about Mark Wahlberg's character.
True.
But this just made me realize, I was like, oh, is it really does it just come down to whatever the studio wants to push for?
Yeah.
What they think they're,
What
you
they
know.
think has the best chance.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. I thought that there was criteria, like you can't campaign this person for best actor if they're not in the movie for, more than 10 minutes.
No, I think it's just based on what they think has the best chance for what, and I think that's why Paramount moved Blunt and Krasinski over to supporting
Yeah.
actor and actress because the leading actors and actresses are already stacked as it is probably for this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough category this year.
Both of those, yeah.
I still think it's really early because I'm sure there'll be a whole new slew of movies that come out in the next
for
couple
sure.
months that we're like, oh, well, now I have to try and factor in these people.
Yeah,
I thought
for
I
sure.
already had it. I thought it was already stacked.
I mean, for example, like that movie Vice from Adam McKay. Like no
Yeah.
one has seen a screening of it yet, and
But
already we've
you
been
just
having people
know.
predict
Yeah.
about all the categories. But now this movie is.
And there's Mule.
Yeah, The Mule is another perfect example of that.
Eastwood.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we've still got Robert Redford, Old Man the Gun. That's had some pretty
Yeah,
good
that
releases.
that also has that kind of poignant, almost meta implication. Even though he's kind of gone back on it, saying like, "Well, I don't know if that's actually my last movie." But
Right.
That's
yeah,
that's
who
the
knows?
narrative that the movie was based around.
Sure,
So.
sure.
Yeah, so it's a little early, but we in the office were kind of like, huh? Like no lead actor for Quiet Place. They're all supporting.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it does make sense. At
Yeah,
least
no,
for
I
me.
get it. Like I said, the biggest thing to me was just, I guess there's really no rules. It's just whatever the studio feels like they have a best chance of winning.
Or
Yeah.
the producer or whoever is in charge of that.
Well, I mean, that's
This
what
is
we
something
saw.
We should know a little bit more about.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are like the shady secret meetings that the
That
different
everyone-
studios
yeah.
have, and things are leaking out. It's like, what's going on behind those closed doors?
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean, like when we found out that Disney's basically leaving Infinity War by the wayside and putting all of its push behind Black Panther. I thought that was interesting. It makes
long
sense,
as-
but
as long as it gets nominated for visual effects, I'll be happy enough. Because
Mhm.
the visual effects in Infinity War are just amazing to me.
yeah, I know a lot of people were kind of complaining about the lackluster CG in Black Panther.
Oh,
Which
and
I
Black Panther,
personally
thought you were
never
gonna say
noticed.
Infinity War. I was gonna be
I
like,
personally
what?
never really noticed it, or at least nothing stood out to me, or it made me even think about the quality of the CG.
I think
But
it's
apparently,
all, I think it's
yeah.
all high quality
I
except
don't know,
for
it's-
the fight scene.
like
at
even
the
like
end.
with you said with Venom, I don't know, maybe just unless it's like Harry Potter 1 CG, where it's just so old at this point, it stands
Oh, it holds
out.
up. Actually, I haven't seen it in a while. I don't know.
Not the
Not
fight
the
with the
first one?
troll in the
Okay.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're such babies.
But
That
it's
happened.
just hard for me to notice.
Can't
Like
watch
I
those
don't
movies.
really know what people mean when they say that Black Panther CGI looked really bad.
I think it's just based on how it looks to the eye. Like I think at some points, like you can just tell when something doesn't quite look right, but you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah, it's just kind of an uncanny valley
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. No, but
What did I watch recently? I'm trying to think. I had something that had really bad CG in it, and I was like,
Venom.
You said the opening of Venom.
yeah, that's what it was. It was the opening of Venom.
Hmm.
Oh, that starship. I'm like, it's terrible. It looked like
I think
it
I was
from the
already just
90s.
laughing,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, this is
That
so
movie
cheesy.
was
I
made
love
to
this
be in the
already.
90s. That's anyway. That's a different conversation. That's a different conversation.
Best movie of the year.
Maybe that's why I secretly really enjoyed it, because I'm like, ooh, I got all nostalgic.
I honestly do think that's a part of it,
Yeah.
of why people have their enjoyment of that
Like,
film.
I think it's just
It's
because
just
they
movies
know
like
it
this.
was.
It was
supposed-
just-
It
it
was
was
made
just-
for a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just harkening back to when superhero movies were just simple, silly, dumb movies.
Yeah, yeah. And if they like that, that's fine.
I really liked it.
I liked watching
Silly,
it.
dumb movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to defend it and say it was a well-made movie because it
That's
was.
all my Super Troopers.
the exact
bubbles
opposite.
right there.
Yeah, we're looking at all the
Meh.
Super Trooper bottles, bobble somethings. What are they called?
Funko Pop.
Oh, the Funko Pops,
Yeah.
right?
I always called them pop vinyls.
Mhm.
Pop Finals.
Yeah. When people called them Funko or Funko, I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, you mean the pop vinyls?"
Pop Finals.
Yeah, because they say pop, and then
Yeah.
I don't know where they said vinyl.
I think when they're not like specifically movie or comic book related, they'll say vinyl underneath. Or
Oh.
They're just character ones.
Interesting. The more you know.
I'm trying to look around my office to see if I have any that don't say pop movies. But they just all say pop on them.
Maybe it says it on their feet. I saw it somewhere. I swear. Maybe I'm just
Grab it.
crazy. Yeah, who knows?
I'm gonna make Mac turn and look at you all the time.
Oh, please no. I hated Super Troopers 2.
I didn't say I loved it. These are all from the first one.
I know, but I was talking about Venom, and I was like, it's not a good movie. And then I saw those. I'm like, Super Troopers 2 is not a good movie.
I agree with you. That's why these are not from that one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you only get lightning in a bottle once.
Yeah.
You can't keep opening that bottle. You just lose it.
Until a reboot happens.
Yeah.
Then maybe, just maybe, says every studio.
We'll get it this time.
Yeah,
But
we
it does
promise.
happen. Like Star is Born.
Oh, it can.
That's when you
for
can
sure.
get into the super nuanced stuff because, like, to me, a reboot it has to do with a franchise, and Star is Born has never been a franchise. It's just
No.
a popular story
Yeah.
that, has been told once in a generation. Like, I wouldn't consider this A Star is Born is a reboot of A Star is Born. It's just like, you could say remake, yeah, or just the new version.
Yeah.
But then, once you get into that, it's like, what's the difference between a reboot or a remake or a reimagining or a remaster or a soft reboot? Yeah, there's so many.
Are any of these reboots, you think, going to be Oscar worthy?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
Sorry, but no.
Maybe Pinocchio, but we'll never know.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
It's a Netflix film.
Yeah, but at that point, Netflix will probably be
No.
on the same level.
Never. Be
It'll have its
there.
own theater.
Yeah,
Have its
they'll
own
just
theater.
create their own theater chain.
One-
Like how Amazon's making brick and mortar bookstores, Netflix will make
Yeah.
brick and mortar movie theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing they won't ever reboot is the Boba Fett movie because they'll never make the first one.
Oh, transition.
Yeah.
I was so happy when I heard that, though. I did not want them to make a Boba Fett movie.
It's just nice that they're not going to be doing what they did previously and rush as much Star Wars product as they can.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, here's your one of 3 Star Wars movies a year.
Yeah.
And just continually pull from the original trilogy stuff, just playing it as safe as you can possibly do.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Instead they're going to take their time.
They kind of found a best of both worlds because the Jon
Right.
Favreau series, The Mandalorian, is
Mhm.
going to be what the Boba Fett movie probably was always meant to be.
Just without Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's the Boba Fett series in all but name.
Right.
It's, the character he has the Mandalorian armor, so people are going to be like, hey, is that Boba Fett?
Mhm.
It's like, no, it's not. This is the Mandalorian.
Different character for sure.
But the gist of it will all be the same.
Yeah.
So.
I hope this is their new plan going forward. Like, take their time
Mm-hmm.
to focus on like the 2 shows they're doing.
Well, yeah, it just goes back to, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy and all of them being like, okay, yeah, Star Wars is different. We gotta take our time with these. People don't want.
Are they really doing that, or are they like, are we better served by putting this on our streaming platform?
I think it's a mixture of both.
I think it's both.
I think it's more of that.
I think they know that they can't make every Star Wars movie an event film. If they're gonna make as many as they want to,
Yeah.
they can't pretend that they're all an event.
Yeah.
Like Solo, it wasn't an event. It was a really fun movie. I liked it a lot.
Mhm.
But it's not one of the core episodes. And, the Boba Fett movie was never going to be like that. The whole A Star Wars Story subtitle is kind of like a meme at this point, too.
Yeah.
So I think they're just kind of, they're trying to have
Like,
their
we
cake
gotta-
and eat it, too, a little bit.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. And they're like, we got to pump product out.
But
we
let's make sure to not make it look like we're saying it's like, you have to see this.
Yeah.
Right? Let's put it on the streaming platform, and then it's
Yeah.
not a big deal. No one will.
Yeah, as long as it's not in theaters, people won't give us a bunch of hate
Right.
online.
Exactly.
Yeah. And,
Eureka.
and with their event films in Star Wars, like now there's really nothing else that will be the focus other than that. And even still, like, it's going to be so far down the road now, like at the end of 2019, that
Yeah,
we
that's
can
the end of
just take
episode
time
9,
to
and then
breathe
after
from
that,
it all.
I still don't even know, because obviously the Jon Favreau thing is for the streaming service. We know Ryan Johnson's making a new trilogy, but other than that, I don't, like the Game of Thrones showrunners, I don't know if they're making movies for theaters or if they're going to also be on the
I
streaming
think that's
service.
a show for the streaming service.
If it's a
as
show,
well.
if it's a series of movies, I don't know. Like, aside from now The Mandalorian and episode 9, who knows what Star Wars is doing. I like it that way.
Yeah, me too. I just don't mind them taking their time and not rushing out so much Star Wars product. I think that's better for everyone.
Yeah.
Make it that big event in the theaters, especially.
Yeah, I was never super excited about Boba Fett, but I think Boba Fett really appeals to like a certain part of the audience, and
Oh,
I
Which
for
I will
sure.
never understand.
and I don't. I'm like,
He looks really cool.
assassin. No,
Other than that, he doesn't do anything.
It's just the mystery behind the character, I think.
that was
it's
real
kinda
in
like-
I don't even know if it's a
prequels.
mystery. He looks really cool, but then he gets killed because Han accidentally bumps a button on his jetpack.
True.
I was like,
true.
what? Even when I was like 6 years old, I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I hate Boba Fett now.
I'll give you that. That
You
part
look
was a bit
so
silly.
cool.
But
How
what-
can you die in
but
such a
what
lame
else
way?
Is there?
Yeah, to me, I was like, no, there's no mystery. He was just a really lame character who just happened to look really cool.
But it's like Cody said, like there's some audiences that
Oh yeah, with
think
Star
that
Wars in
character is
particular, people
cool and-
like General Grievous. People latch on to people
Yeah.
because they look cool,
yeah.
and then after the fact, they'll make up all the reasons why they're actually cool. It's like,
They're-
no, they just look really cool.
They just look really cool, but
Like
there's
Darth
really
Maul.
nothing there.
Like with Darth Maul.
Darth Maul's coming back. He has
Well-
robot legs, spider legs.
It's the
now.
worst scene of anything in Star Wars.
I forgot that you
Prequels, sequels, original films. That Darth Maul scene in Solo.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
forgot you
worst.
didn't like
The
that.
worst thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen. I hated everything about it.
I forget. Did you see him in the Clone Wars show?
No, I never watched I never did any of the extended
Excuse me.
universe stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
I was
the
curious.
movies.
I was just curious. That's
I
fair.
just don't understand, and this is from my lack of intimate Star Wars knowledge, but I thought the Sith only had Master and Apprentice, and the Emperor took on a new apprentice, so he just would never.
I think that was something that was only ever applied in the extended universe because they never say anything about Rule of Two or anything like that in the movies.
Okay.
Like, I guess if you think back, yeah, you really only ever see two of them
Mm-hmm.
on screen. And I think that's something that they noticed
Didn't
people
they talk
were
about that in
pointing
the
out.
prequels?
I don't think so.
I have to go investigate. I thought it was.
Yeah,
a
but that would mean you'd
conversation
have to
with
watch the
Yoda and
prequels.
Mace Windu.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe I'm making it up in my head.
That's just one of those things that Star Wars theorists come up with.
I have always believed that was part of it. So when I saw it in the Solo, I'm like, Darth Maul's alive. I wasn't like how that happened because I'm like, he's probably got the Force. He probably like kept himself together in that. But my thing was, how would the Emperor have let that happen? How would they have not sensed that Darth Maul was alive and been like,
Because it was a stupid cash grab scene. That was
question,
The
don't
worst
answer
thing
the
ever.
questions I have.
There is no answer. There's no good answer.
Or was he like, I will allow this to happen as my young apprentice is training?
There's no
Like,
there
he
was no
hedged his
thought.
bets. He's like, now instead of one healthy apprentice, I have two half robot ones.
The full extent of the thought that went into that scene was people love Darth Maul. Let's put him in here and then have him turn his lightsaber on so people know it's Darth Maul. That was it.
No.
Stupid.
Yeah, you're not
I'm
wrong
gonna
there.
go with my Emperor hedged his bets on two half robot apprentices.
That is
Two mechanical.
more power to you.
Yes.
More power to you.
And no Boba Fett.
And now no Boba Fett.
Oh, well.
Darn.
I mean, I remember because that kind of tied in when they announced that they were just putting all of their Star Wars stories on hold after Solo.
Yeah.
Like the Obi-Wan movie was put on hold, the Boba Fett movie was put on hold. So it was already on hold, but now it kind of feels like, hey, we have the Mandalorian now. We're not gonna say we're canceling it, but everybody knows Boba Fett is dead in the water.
We are just not putting resources towards developing it anymore.
Yeah,
Do you think they'll do an Obi-Wan?
I think eventually they might, but
It has to be
who
the
knows? By
prequel.
that point, there's already everyone on the internet hates the idea of that because it doesn't seem that likely that they would bring Ewan McGregor back, and it's like nobody likes Obi-Wan. People love Ewan McGregor.
Right.
So
I like Obi-Wan.
yeah, I know he's cool too, but it's because he is Ewan McGregor.
Did I like it because he was Ewan McGregor?
I mean, you can't.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not explaining right. Like
There's
you can't see anybody else pretty much the same level as Han. So we could be proven wrong, I guess. But that was the main criticism with Han Solo.
For sure. You can't see anybody else as Han Solo.
I can. I mean, in the movie, in the movie Solo, I feel like Alden pulled it off. But in my head, I'm never gonna replace Harrison Ford with Alden when I think of Han Solo.
See, and for me with Obi-Wan, I still think of
Alec Guinness, yeah, no, that's a good
So
point.
I've never replaced Alec Guinness with.
But that's old Ben Kenobi, not Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if he means old Ben.
So, I guess to me, because I've never really replaced it, like my Obi-Wan Kenobi is still gonna be Alec Guinness forever. Like that's what.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
He can get changed. His younger versions can get changed out, and I don't think I would really care.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in the character of Obi-Wan. Like, what does a character like that do after everything that you've grown and like been a part of is destroyed, and you have to like kind of protect this one?
I think he just sits and is a hermit for
Is he?
20
Is that
years.
what he does,
They
or
kind
does he
of-
go
I mean,
out
what
and
else would he do?
gather knowledge?
All of the Jedi were murdered.
They
He's just
explain
kinda
it
in
a
hiding.
little in the Rebels show, if I remember correctly. Like, 'cause
I
there's
always-
a really cool episode that deals with him.
I assumed he just kind of chills, being a hermit, reading books, watching.
I think he goes out
stuff.
and does stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe. I just can't see him doing like secret missions. I imagine him like, sitting on a bench with a newspaper in front of him, like looking at Luke from across the.
What
the
happened in
room.
the Rebel show? Did he do a secret mission in that?
Basically in that particular episode, like it shows him on the planet watching over Luke, and then he also comes into like the final battle between him and Darth Maul, and it's a very highly debated.
Luke fights Darth Maul.
No, Obi-Wan does. Excuse me.
Has another showdown with Darth
Yeah, I
Maul?
knew
The
that because
final-
Darth.
Spider
the
Leg?
final
'cause Darth
showdown,
Maul's
not
been,
with
like-
the spider legs. No.
Because Darth Maul's been like hunting him down ever since he made it out of after he got cut in half.
Yeah.
He's just like driven by revenge or something.
For Obi-Wan.
And I think
their
you
final
find-
showdown is in that episode, and it's
Oh, is
highly
that where-
debated on how good it is. But if you think about it more, like it's actually pretty interesting.
Does Darth Maul like let go of some of his darkness when he's dying again
No.
for a second time?
No.
Like, Obi-Wan, you showed me the way.
Darth Maul's a
No.
one-dimensional character.
No, like the end. The final words they say to each other are. Well, actually, what did they say? I remember them being very interesting, but it's not like, oh, I've seen the light now. I'm a good guy. No, it's not.
No, not that bad, but like
No.
maybe he lets.
I just wanted to track you down to say
No.
I'm sorry
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no,
for
it's,
killing your master.
No, he's still on the dark side.
Okay.
Oh, Darth Maul.
I feel like how awesome would it be if Obi-Wan really did do secret missions and gathered secret things and had this whole secret life that maybe they allude to way later. Like somebody comes on this
No.
treasure trove of old Jedi stuff. That
I think he earned.
save.
I think he earned the right to just sit back and be a lazy old man
Maybe.
and just occasionally check in on Luke from afar, just like walking by with his hood up and be like, "Okay, no, he's doing good.
Oh,
Time to go home."
he's still hanging out.
I bet he went to Alderaan and sort of checked in on Leia too. Although he didn't probably had to do that less and less.
Yeah, it's a long journey for an old man.
He wouldn't have been that old though.
Yeah, but I can't. There's no difference between, or there's nothing in between Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan, and then Alec Guinness. Like I can't imagine like a slightly grayer kind of. It's just like I can accept this is what he looked like here, and now he looks like this. But I feel like if you try and add another thing in between that just doesn't work. He goes like at the day after he drops off Luke, he turns into Alec Guinness. is what happens in my mind.
Like he loses a little force and it
He
ages
just
rapidly.
he just wakes up. He's like, oh my gosh.
Tatooine, it just sucked the life out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like old Luke or young Luke and old Luke.
Yeah.
Like there's young Luke, and then we see old gray Luke.
But it's still Mark
Skywalker
Hamill
in
though.
episode
It's
8.
still Mark Hamill.
But it's kind of that same. It's kind of that same
Yeah.
way of thinking it. I guess in some way it is, but
Well, that was a good podcast, guys. I've got a lot to think about now. Star Wars.
so much to think about.
It all comes back to
Wow.
the passing of time.
I am actually really excited to see Bohemian Rhapsody, so I will be checking that out hopefully
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Same
I'm
here.
interested to see
Might
how
see you
I,
at the theater.
yeah, I'm interested to
Yeah.
see how I'll like it. I'm sure it'll make a boatload of money,
Mhm.
and I'm sure that the audiences will like it,
I
but
think it'll
critics are not too hot on it.
Really, they're not.
No.
It's a little
Is
mixed.
it lukewarm?
It's like
sentiment?
below 50-50. Yeah.
It sounds
What are the biggest criticisms?
from what I've gathered, it sounds like the critics wanted like the full in-depth everything kind of story about Freddie Mercury, but it's really about
Well,
a
just
little
about
bit
the-
of him and the band.
Well, it's kind of like a sterile, safe, just kind of run through the events, but you don't really learn anything about the band or Freddie Mercury. It's just kind of like they did this in this year, and then they did this in this year, and then they did this in this year.
Truth be told, I think that's what the audience kind of wants.
I feel like the audience just wants to see a movie about Queen.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really think.
I mean, I would also like to see a lot about Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, it's always
himself,
interesting to see
for
the
sure,
actual
but-
psychology and inner workings of these highly publicized people's minds.
Yeah,
See what they were actually like off camera.
yeah.
Um,
That would be cool to see, but honestly, like with all the trailers and footage that I've seen, like I've always thought that it was gonna just be like, here's the band Queen with a little bit about Freddie Mercury, and that
Mhm.
was that. So I don't know why the critics thought it was gonna be this one thing when really it's gonna be something.
I mean, there have been
else.
other movies like Love and Mercy. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was really good, and that kind of goes really into Brian Wilson's character
Mhm.
and the kind of person he was, and it gives you insight into how and why he ended up making the art that he did.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's not really the case with this movie. It's
Right.
just kind of like
I worry that that's the problem. There could be a couple things. I think Freddie Mercury was really private,
it was incredibly private.
and so there's probably not a lot of stuff about.
Yeah, not a lot to go on.
Yeah, and he was kind of secluded, and then he being a homosexual, people,
Mhm.
you know, and how that is now not as accepted maybe politically right now in the climate as being like kind of in your face. So maybe the studio shied away from that because they're like, we just really kind of don't know. I think the other thing too is I'm sure the band Queen has been trying forever to move on and be something other than Freddie Mercury's
Yeah.
band.
they did
And-
have a lot of say in what happens in the movie.
And I think they have,
Yes, that
they
is
have
true.
a lot to say, and I'm sure that they toned down the. 'cause
Yeah,
they
they're like,
didn't
hey,
want this.
we're in the band too.
Right, and this is about our band journey, not just him and his
Yeah.
life.
No, there's a lot of things.
That went to dilute it, because I know that Sacha Baron Cohen.
I was just about to bring that up.
I didn't know about that, and I
Did you
was reading
He was gonna play
a
Freddie
bunch of
Mercury.
people
and he
saying
looks
like,
really close to Freddie Mercury. Like,
yeah, it does.
very close.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Okay, no, that's interesting.
Like,
I hadn't heard anything
I think
about
that
that.
makes sense why he stepped away. I think he realized that like what the movie was gonna be, and that's not what he wanted it to
Well, I
be.
think the criticism seemed to be that it's just this
Rami
really,
Malek still looks great though. Like
just it's
great
this really
follow-up.
bland PG-13 greatest hits of their history instead of
Yeah.
like an actual deep dive into who and why they were the people they were and how the music came to be.
Yeah. So I
Instead, it's just sort of like
I think it's
I
the
don't know.
music came to be because a lot of Freddie Mercury and the band is like, we were always living in his shadow. Like, let's.
Who
kinda do
knows?
more about
for
us.
sure.
all I know is that they were a bunch of nerds and they made really nerdy music.
I mean,
It's
I'm
really
still
good.
like I said, I'm still excited. I
Me
just think
too.
the critics thought it was gonna be one thing when really the trailers showed us what this movie is gonna be. So
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like a celebration of Queen instead of like a
the hard, gritty truth behind-
analysis
I was
of
kind of surprised
yeah.
to find out it was PG-13. Like when
That-
I
that was-
realized it was PG-13,
Yeah.
I was
That's
like,
when I was like, oh, this is what that movie's
yeah,
gonna be.
this is.
Yeah,
gonna be
no, when I
watered
saw that,
down.
I was like, okay, I know exactly what this. I feel like I know exactly what
Right.
the approach this is going to take.
So when the critics heard the rating, they should have known that it wasn't gonna
maybe.
be that.
I mean, just for everyone else, like everyone has their own amount of enjoyment in a movie, no matter what the rating is. So like, if some of them just
Like
were
Venom.
like, I did not, yeah, exactly, like I did not enjoy how they handled this property. Fine, like that's their own opinion, but I do think a lot of it had to do with them not realizing what it was gonna be.
Well, when you hear PG-13 rating, you already know that there's probably no sex or very, very little like off-camera stuff going on,
Mhm.
and no drugs, and probably light drinking.
No
or
rock and
hint-
roll,
or
sex,
there'll
drugs,
be
and
rock and
sex,
roll.
drugs, and rock and roll. How can you make a movie without the sex and the drugs?
So, and very little like bad
It's
language.
true.
Well, so that's what I've been kind of concerned about. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
no,
it's
if-
PG-13, but you took out all the things that like go along with
Yeah,
it.
I feel like the rock star lifestyle is kind of inherently R-rated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that typical
Right.
rock star lifestyle.
You don't
For
need to
sure.
be like, I don't know, like a floozy, like opening your legs to everything. Like, it doesn't have to
No,
be
you don't
super
have to have like some
sexual
hardcore
Right.
like gay orgy scene.
in it, but you need to like do more. Like,
But that's
do
why,
more.
and again, I don't like speculating too much because I haven't even seen it yet. But
True, this is
I
all
do
speculation.
feel like that PG-13 rating is kind of a sign that the movie's just kind of playing it really safe and kind of looking at the band from the outside.
Focusing
kinda-
on the music, not the politics.
It's about
Right.
the music.
Right.
not the drama.
But no, I'll just have to see for myself and see where I fall down on it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. What else comes out this weekend?
Nutcracker in the Four
Yes.
Realms
Oh, yeah,
comes out as
I'll see
well.
that over the
Nobody's
weekend.
Fool, the Tiffany Haddish movie.
I'm so excited about Nobody's Fool too. I'm gonna go see so many movies.
I'm not
this
excited
weekend.
for that. I feel like you had the same reaction before Night School
Yes.
and the same reaction before, all
Oh,
these
that's
other
right.
comedies. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, it's
I
going to
do-
be the exact same. Probably. Who knows?
Yeah, but I get Whoopi Goldberg in this
True.
one.
True.
That
I
is
haven't
nice
seen
to see.
her in a movie.
I have
I don't
always
know
loved
what the last
Whoopi.
time I saw her in a movie was.
Not me either.
So I'm like, yeah, Whoopi.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's definitely Bohemian Rhapsody. Like this Nutcracker movie, just it's obviously not targeted towards me, but it just something about it. Like I just shake my head every time, and I'm just like, really, this is
Just another one of those movies where all of a sudden it's like the whole fate of the universe,
It's just
kind of thing.
Of the Nutcracker
it's
universe.
it's
Yes.
Disney is ripping off themselves for Alice
Yeah.
in Wonderland, and I'm like, I don't know, like it's rubbing me the wrong way, and I don't have a
I got like
explanation
Lion the
why.
Witch in the Wardrobe, but with the aesthetic of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, that's also a good way.
That's
to
kind of what I was
describe
getting.
it. Yeah.
Whenever I see hear the voiceover, like, you are the one that can, lead us to
Exactly.
victory or stop the evil one.
You were the
It's like,
only
oh my
one.
The
God,
evil one.
Right.
the
13-year-old
darkness.
Girl, preteen girl.
But it at least like
Fate rests with you.
at least this weekend Cody will have a lot of movies to see.
I will.
That
Yeah.
is exciting.
Yes. Finally. I feel like I've been in a little bit of a drought. It's been a little light on the last couple weeks.
I thought October was pretty solid. September for sure I thought was pretty dry.
Have I seen anything?
Except for Mandy.
Yeah, that's right. That's what
Yeah.
you did see. Yeah.
I guess I haven't seen anything since First Man, and apparently some of us really liked it. I did not.
We explain
Yeah.
why we liked it so
Oh, I
much
loved it.
in a podcast like an episode or two ago.
Yeah.
So check that out.
Beautiful,
Shameless plug.
beautiful film.
It really is. That movie's so good.
Yes, if you like heartless, cold characters that have no emotion.
We
Well,
actually
we'll
we
have
actually
to-
talked about that exact
manufactured.
misconception in our podcast episode.
That is true.
Now we know which camp Cody
I,
falls into.
I would like
Because
to
you've
have a
been
deep.
manipulated.
No.
There really is no emotion there.
I really would like to
Oh,
have a
man.
deep
Director.
discussion about this
This
because
is-
I think this will be
This is
interesting.
the facade of the character, and then the director's like, "Here's a stick. He's got emotions. Look over this." Psh, into the crater, and you're like, "I'm following it."
I don't know
No.
what you just said.
Yes, and really, you're just left with a cold statue. Of a
I just think it's
person.
fascinating that people can have such polar opposite reactions.
Like I said, I would love to have a deep discussion about this sometime.
Yeah. Because I feel the exact opposite, 110% of everything you just said.
So weird. so weird.
That's the movies.
But that was the last movie I went to, and before that, it was Stars Born.
Yeah,
Which was
so
really
it's been
good.
about a month and a half, or half a month,
So it's
3
been
weeks.
hit or miss for me this month.
Well, hopefully Bohemian Rhapsody is a hit.
I know.
Hopefully.
I'm hoping. If not, then Nobody's Fool will probably be that.
Probably.
Probably. All right. Well, let's find out Friday after we go see Bohemian.
Yes.
Cool.
I'm down.
Look forward to it.
Take care.